I'm going stealth today. Cloudultra 3, all black. Had this shoe for about a week now. Lots of stuff in the queue, so haven't been able to get out in them, although I have been really looking forward to it. I have been testing on-road shoes over the past week. Cloudsurfer Max and Cloudsurfer 2. Check out my 4 days on the road testing of those two models, including one day with a little bit of a speed session, some cruising miles in the Max as well. I talked about the Cloudultra Pro model quite a bit in my last Q&A video. I was mainly focused on the North Face Vective Pro 3 there, but since I had recently also run 100K prior to that shoe in the Pro model, Cloudultra that is, it naturally came up as far as comparison and discussion. There seems to be quite a bit of interest, feedback, comments about how this Cloudultra 3 compares to the Pro and really what it brings to the table on its own. Let's go straight out the gate with, whoa, catch that lizard there? Let's go with the measured stack heights. First of all, I measure 36 at the heel for this regular version here. With the Pro, I measured 39, so only a 3 mil difference at the heel. Both shoes specify a 6 mil drop. We got lizards, we got these giant crickets all over the place. Jeez. Now that 3 mil difference that I measure and stack is a little bit off from what they specify. They specify the Pro at 38.5, which is in line with what I measure. But this regular version here, they specify at 32.5 at the heel. And I did measure 36, so they've got a 6 mil difference at the heel, whereas I only measured a 3 mil difference. I don't want to go full A-B comp just yet here between these two shoes. This is my first run in the Cloudultra 3. But I did think that difference in measurement versus the spec was important to note here. I did size down here to US 9.5 compared to the Pro, which I have in a US 10. If you watch my video reviews and recap and stuff I talked about in the Q&A, I definitely am happy with the US 10 and the Pro, but it's definitely roomy, definitely spacious, and I did want to try out the 9.5, at least in this regular model, really just for comparison, although I might feel that the 10 here might still be ideal for me. Fit here in US 9.5 is just about perfect for me. Maybe for very long distances, I'd again want to have that US 10 just for that extra space in front of the toes. But if I were thinking of this merely as a training shoe, not really crazy long days or not racing for sure, since I do have the Pro, then I think the 9.5 is working really well. I am wearing Sidus Trail Ultra sock here. That's a thinner sock throughout the foot. They don't have those big cushy zones around the heel and the ball, so it's actually quite a thin sock. But those little orange areas, that's a little added protection just around the heel bones. But inside the shoe itself, it doesn't really have a lot of enhanced cushioning zones, if any at all. It's actually quite a thin sock. Second lizard I'm racing there. The weight difference between these two models is pretty slight. I weigh 10.1 ounce for the Cloudultra 3, and the Pro model I had at 9.8 ounces. Now keep in mind, again, I have 3 mil more stack measured with the lighter Pro model. And also, I have a half size bigger in the Pro model. So accounting for the half size difference, I'd estimate you got about a half an ounce difference between these two shoes on the scale. So 28 minutes in, 2.8 miles so far. First impressions of the ride here, I thought they would ride firmer. Handling them back home and having them side by side with the Pro, just walking around and them not running yet, I thought the shoe would be much firmer. I did not get to run in them out at TrailCon. Got to try one on later in the day, but I had already done my running that day. So this is my first time in this model anywhere. Yeah, I think, you know, this shoe is heavier than the Pro. They both say Helion HF on the midsole, but I'm not certain for sure what the composition of those midsoles are. They're both dual layer, that's for sure. And for sure, the Pro model has 2 different layers of HF foam, softer on top, firmer on bottom. Also for sure, this one has a softer layer on top and a firmer layer on the bottom, but I'm not quite certain what they are. The layer closest to the ground in the regular version 3 here feels way firmer than any of the layers, you know, the top layer in this shoe and the 2 layers in the Pro. I believe it's probably regular Helion, which is an EVA blend. Then on top of that, it's definitely softer, but I'm not really sure if it's as soft as the top layer in the Pro. I kind of suspect that they went with the same HF bottom layer in the Pro as the top layer in this model. I don't have that definitively from On, but it seems like if you're gonna go with that firmer EVA on the bottom, you wouldn't want to have a drastic difference to super soft HF on the top level of this model. You'd want to have them closer together. So it's, I guess, I would say a gradual step down from the top of the foot in the Pro to the bottom of the foot in the Pro to the top of the foot in this model, and then the bottom of the foot in this model being the firmest. That's as, you know, close as I could describe it, and that's generally how it feels on the run to me, and really that's all that matters anyway. Like I said, just handling them in hand, pressing that bottom layer in this shoe, it just feels way firmer, especially compared to the top layer in the Pro. So you just have it in your head that, oh, this shoe is gonna just feel pretty firm on the run, but that's really not the case here. I find it very smooth, and, you know, I don't notice firmness at all. The CloudTech Void or pod setup is definitely different here. The Pro has 8 little pods there, those voids that go through, and this one only has 7, and they're bigger. So perhaps they substituted more mechanical compression from those voids with this model, as opposed to the softer full Helion HF foam in the Pro model. It's another way to kind of tweak the cushioning in the ride a bit. You know, I'm not crazy about an all black shoe, and part of the reason why I decided to bring these out today is it is overcast, so saving me some solar heat gain on my feet here. It's also specified as a lino weave upper with the regular version here. It's a little bit different though than the Pro. Pro has some kind of wider vents along the side. I'm not sure if the material itself has any particular difference. It is extremely wide open in the toe box here. Just completely breathable. Water in, water out, air in, air out. You can probably see my orange socks through the toe box there. I tried them on barefoot yesterday when I was taking a couple pictures, and I could completely see my toes right through the shoes. So, you know, all black may not be my favorite, but at least they're airing me out a bit here. The shoe is spec'd at 6 mil, and I think that's a more noticeable 6 mil than the Pro, and that's likely due to the softer foam. Again, the Pro, 2 layers of HF. I suspect only 1 layer here. It's definitely firmer, closer to the ground here, so I do feel it's a solid, legit 6 mil. Hoka Mafate 5 is out by now, and people are going crazy about them going to an 8 mil drop. And I'd say, you know, 6 mil is the sweet spot in a shoe. And I don't think their 8 mil feels much different than this shoe's 6. The Mafate previous models with 4 definitely felt pretty flat. And I would even say the Pro feels flatter than this model for sure. Again, because the foam is softer. When you land on the heel, it just immediately sinks in. And that's what happened a lot with Mafate 4. Just so soft, like you effectively felt like it was a lower drop. So they just want to give you more drop to really, you know, maintain the integrity of that higher feeling drop as opposed to a flatter feeling ride. So the 6 mil underfoot does feel very supportive. When I was climbing up there, that little hill, it definitely felt good climbing. Very easy flex. The 6 mil under the heel felt very solid. Like it was, you know, holding me up, and it wasn't kind of flattening out or having to over-activate my calves when I'm climbing. Felt a little support under the heel area, which is good. It should be good for heel strikers, I think. Although, you know, if you had this one in the Pro, it's definitely going to feel firmer on heel landings, but, you know, I think that's expected from a regular shoe versus a super shoe. Also under the arch here, really good support. I like how my angling Achilles heel feeling great in this shoe. No stress at all. Running downhill right now on the way back. Smooth riding, not overly firm. I think it's actually more stable than the Pro because it is firmer over a longer distance. You may appreciate that softer midsole in the Pro, but for everyday running, you might want a little more feel like this one. 3 mil lower in stack, a little bit firmer, yet still with an HF layer close to the foot. More ground feel, firmer. It's certainly, I feel, more controllable. Like at times when I'm off camber here and I was hitting some of those tight switchbacks, you get a little kind of height wobble in the Pro and, you know, other taller, higher stack shoes. This one does feel more grounded, and honestly, I think it's a more stable ride than the Pro. I don't think that's really a hot take or anything. It's not really a stretch to say either. You're lower to the ground, firmer, So that's a wrap. First impressions, first run, Cloudultra 3 here. This is gonna be about a 8-mile run in total out of the box here. I definitely want to put more miles in these, but first impression, I am very impressed with the shoe. Like I said, I thought they would ride firmer. I thought I would not be as excited about this shoe, especially having run and raced in the Cloudultra Pro. I thought this might be, you know, it's always hard to then go to kind of the regular model. Definitely have to feel out the sizing a bit more. Half size down, I like it. Feels good for me for shorter runs with, of course, thinner socks here, really working. So I'm gonna put more test miles in, maybe go more in-depth AB against the Cloudultra Pro. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this quick look, first impressions, first run. Any questions or comments, as usual, leave them down below. And as usual, check out the description. Lots of links to related content in there on videos, testing that I've done, maybe even previous related shoes, stuff like that. Always check out the description. I, of course, have affiliate links in there if you're interested in this model or the Pro or any of the other On shoes I've tested. I got affiliate links down in the description, and that does help support the channel. Just a small thing, doesn't cost you anything. Thank you very much. If you've done that in the past, then please consider doing so in the future for your shoe purchases. Thank you for watching. Have a great day out on the trails. One thing I didn't mention, and it's actually not mentioned in the tech sheet, is there is a Speedboard in this shoe. At least I think that's it. I could see it and I could feel it right there, similar to how, you know, that yellow one is in the Pro version. Again, it doesn't say the word Speedboard in the tech sheet I received, but it's in the same spot, and it's definitely a plasticky element there. So I would assume that's the same or a similar Speedboard as to the Pro model, and that would be a nylon fiberglass plate there, X-shaped. Again, I am assuming. I will try to get confirmation on that, but it is there. You could see it through the pods and also feel it there.